Hi everyone, my name is Jim Wiles and I am a Master Mason in the state of North Carolina. This is my first video on the channel, so I'd like to welcome everyone to Inside the Lodge. The reason it's called that is because hopefully the majority of my videos will be done right here in the lodge. You can see our charter back here on the wall. I'm currently seated at the secretary's desk, and I've tried doing this at home, but it didn't feel like it was really an authentic video. I really wanted to do it in the lodge. I felt like to explain the heart of Masonry, I should be in the heart of my home as a Mason, which is Thomasville Thomasville Lodge number 214. I want to give a brief introduction about myself. As I've said, my name is Jim Wiles. I'm a Master Mason in the state of North Carolina. I'm 19. I joined Masonry at the age of 18. I'm currently junior deacon. I'm a member of Ivanhoe Commandery number 8, which is a York Rite temple. So that kind of sums it up. I'm a welder. That's about it. Proud Freemason. Ever since I really became a Mason, I've been wanting to do videos like this. I've seen other videos on YouTube and elsewhere explaining it. Unfortunately, I've seen some videos explaining Masonry by people that aren't Masons, and that's usually where we get the bad light shown on us. And it's completely false. So hopefully by doing these videos, you'll see that I am completely transparent in what I say with as much as I can say. I'll be completely honest as much as I can be. I won't lie, but of course there are some things that I can't say. I'm in the lodge. If you take a moment, you don't hear any screaming or animals being sacrificed. That's because there's no sacrificing. We're not evil devil worshippers like a lot of people seem to say we are or joke about. You know, I've heard it jokingly and seriously, and I've had someone scream in my face that I'm a devil worshiper, despite the fact that I'm a very proud Christian. So what I wanted to do today, after my introduction to the channel and kind of briefly explaining what I want to do with it, is I wanted to answer one of the biggest questions that you're asked. Is there a goat in Masonry? No, I'm just kidding. That's not it. The question I want to tackle today is, what is Freemasonry? So I want to get into this topic, all jokes aside. What is Freemasonry? I've tried to explain this. I've tried to do several videos, and I ended up just not getting it the way I wanted, because even though I have the information in my head, once I start recording, it kind of leaves me, you know? It's kind of hard to keep all together. I've not really made very many videos in my life, so it kind of, I guess I get a little nervous and things slip my mind. So what I ended up doing was writing a lot of things down. So you'll see my eyes moving because I am reading things. I'm not the best reader. I might mess up a touch, but I'm going to try to answer this question with some things that I've prepared. So what is Freemasonry? Freemasonry today is an international fraternity whose members are patriotic and heavily involved in charity and place strong emphasis on the brotherhood of man. They established retirement homes, orphanages, hospitals, and award study grants for young people, and sponsorships for charitable causes. Among lodge members, you may find skilled tradesmen, business owners, doctors, lawyers, judges, and politicians. But in the lodge, they are all equal and they are all just brothers. Freemasonry is the largest and oldest fraternal organization in the world, often misdescribed as being a secret society, when in fact we are just a society with secrets. If you doubt this, I'll ask you to think about who it is that meets in the building with the giant square and compass on it. That's right, it's us, the Freemasons. We're obviously not a secret organization. We like to be out in the public. We like to participate in community events, particularly here in Thomasville. We like to participate in the Memorial Day Parade. We participate in the feeding of homeless people quite often. So, you know, we're obviously not a secret society is my point. We do have secrets, but we are not a secret society. We are known for our secret signs and handshakes whereby one Mason may know another without introduction. Our principles are faith, charity, and brotherly love, with emphasis on morality and virtue. In theory, any believer in God or a supreme deity can become a Freemason, whether he is Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Jewish, or Christian, such as myself. I am a Baptist Christian, and I would say that the majority of people at my lodge are in fact Christians. I believe there are 2 Jewish men and 1 Odinist, I believe. So today, many nations of the world have Freemasonry in their foundations and political structures. Many of the founders of the United States were a part of our great and ancient fraternity. I'm going to put George Washington in his Masonic regalia. Let's see, I think it was 13 members of the, I'll put it up on the screen. I'll put the information up on the screen about how many presidents were Masons and how many signers of the Declaration were Masons. So this quote is by Albert Pike, who is a 33rd degree Freemason and the writer of Morals of Dogma. He is probably one of the most well-known people for simply being a Freemason. He was very far into Freemasonry, and he wrote a book called Morals of Dogma, and that book is, well, it's been described to me as he was a very, very smart man, and when he wrote the book, he wanted everyone to know how smart he was. The point is, it's a very difficult book to read when you do the Scottish Rite. The book is given to you, and it's encouraged that you read it. Some of the guys at my lodge have read it. One guy says that he got about 3/4 of the way through and then thought, I've got no idea what any of this is talking about. But you get the bones when you read it. Even if you don't understand the main part, you really get the bones of it. I've only listened when I'm driving. I like to listen to it. Really all I've gotten to so far is listening to what he says about the Royal Arch degree, which was one of my favorite degrees in Masonry. Now, on to the quote by Albert Pike from his book, Morals of Dogma. We are known for our secret signs and handshakes, whereby one Mason may know another without introduction. Our principles are faith, charity, and brotherly love, with emphasis on morality and virtue. In theory, any believer in God or a supreme deity can become a Freemason, whether he is Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Jewish, or Christian, such as myself. I am a Baptist Christian, and I would say that the majority of people at my lodge are in fact Christians. I believe there are 2 Jewish men and 1 Odinist, I believe. So today, many nations of the world have Freemasonry in their foundations and political structures. Many of the founders of the United States were a part of our great and ancient fraternity. I'm going to put George Washington in his Masonic regalia. Let's see, I think it was 13 members of the, I'll put it up on the screen. I'll put the information up on the screen about how many presidents were Masons and how many signers of the Declaration were Masons. So this quote is by Albert Pike, who is a 33rd degree Freemason and the writer of Morals of Dogma. He is probably one of the most well-known people for simply being a Freemason. He was very far into Freemasonry, and he wrote a book called Morals of Dogma, and that book is, well, it's been described to me as he was a very, very smart man, and when he wrote the book, he wanted everyone to know how smart he was. The point is, it's a very difficult book to read when you do the Scottish Rite. The book is given to you, and it's encouraged that you read it. Some of the guys at my lodge have read it. One guy says that he got about 3/4 of the way through and then thought, I've got no idea what any of this is talking about. But you get the bones when you read it. Even if you don't understand the main part, you really get the bones of it. I've only listened when I'm driving. I like to listen to it. Really all I've gotten to so far is listening to what he says about the Royal Arch degree, which was one of my favorite degrees in Masonry. Now, on to the quote quote by Albert Pike from his book Morals of Dogma. Masonry is identical with the ancient mysteries. He presents that imperfect imagery of the balance. The Grand Lodge of Texas writes, the presence of the modern Masonic system of many of the emblems, simple symbols, and allegories of the ancient temples of initiation, as well as certain rites performed to therein, has persuaded the most learned scholars to conclude that Masonry is the modern successor of the sublime mysteries of the Temple of Solomon and the temples of India, Babylon, Egypt, Greece, as well as the basic doctrine of the Essenes and other mysterious orders. Now, I didn't write that part. I got that from the Grand Lodge of Texas's website. Now, that's why I had trouble reading it, because like in a lot of Masonry, it doesn't really flow off the tongue so well. But the next part is about what is Masonry, is where the first Grand Lodge comes from. And as I'm sure everyone should know, every country, or in this case state, which Grand Lodge of North Carolina, every Masonic lodge has a ruling body known as the Grand Lodge. And they are the Grand Lodge of England, the Grand Lodge of North Carolina, the Grand Lodge of Mississippi. It varies on where you are, whether it's the Grand Lodge of your country or the Grand Lodge of your state. So the first Grand Lodge was founded in York, England in 1717, and originally it was the Stonemasons' Mutual Benefit Society. By the way, the Masons, as we know them today, really formed as kind of an elite club. These were tradesmen like stonemasons who got together and decided to keep their trade secret. And of course, if you were a stonemason, you would want to keep the trade secret because this was your livelihood. If everyone knew how to do what you did, then they would be able to take your job away. You wanted to guide this very closely. So that's why it was a secret back then. A lot of people wonder, well, if they're not doing anything sinister, why is it a secret today? And the reason that Masonry today is kept a secret is, I'm going to give about two reasons. One reason is because anciently it was a secret. We keep up all of the traditions from thousands of years ago, all the way back to King Solomon's temple. We keep the traditions from the ancient stonemasons guilds. And one of those things is secrecy, of course. Another reason, and it's a reason that I like to give, the reason that it's secret, or one reason rather, is because when you are a candidate moving through one degree, or all three, or even degrees in the Scottish Rite, York Rite, doing the Shrine, everything is unknown to you. And while a lot of it can be found online, it's also a mixture of false information pulled off of people that read Wikipedia, got it from someone that they think was a Mason. I know someone who thought that Masons were evil devil worshippers because a man pretended to be a Mason, and he said that we're kidnappers, evil devil worshippers, and sacrificers or whatever. And I said, well, how do you know this man was a Mason? And they said, he had an apron. Well, this might come as a surprise, but you can buy an apron off the internet for, I think, $30, $15. They are not expensive at all. But one reason that it's secret is because when you do the degrees, they only really are presented to you particularly one time. When you do that degree, you are presented the information. And it's a lot more special, it's a lot more meaningful if it's given to you right then. That's one reason it's secret, because if you receive it in such a special way, it's going to be a lot more meaningful to you. If you receive it on the internet, you're spoiling the experience for yourself. You're not going to enjoy it quite as much. And unfortunately, for the 4 years before I could be a Mason, I've been interested since I was 14, and I only could join when I was 18 in the state. So, and usually it's 18 or 21 when you can join. So the reason that I I was reading so much was because it was such a long time before I could actually get in, and I accidentally ruined some of the information that was going to be presented to me in the entered apprentice degree because I was reading a lot of it and then I already knew what was going to happen, very unfortunately. I didn't spoil the Fellowcraft degree, I did not spoil the Master Mason's degree. All of that was presented to me on the night that I received them, and they were so meaningful to me because of how I received them. To me, Masonry has really brought me closer in my religion. I'll explain a little more about that in a second. I want to say you can, of course, find information online. Of course, a lot of it is false, but there's a lot of truths about what we do that are supposed to be secrets online. The only thing that I think that you will find in Masonry that you will not be able to find online is the 10th degree Templar degree. You will not find any information about that online. That is actual truth. That is a very biblical degree. Because of that degree, when I received it, I gave up profane language. It's affected me in many ways, I'd say, in several ways that have changed me for the better as a Christian man. I think that after that, there are things that have changed in me, and it is definitely for the best in the Christian way. And I truly believe that with all of my heart. I think that if you take Masonry the way I have, it really can bring you closer to your religion. I think I kind of got off topic there. I can't remember what I was talking about. I know that you don't want to spoil the degrees. That's why it's a secret, because you don't want to spoil the degrees, because it's tradition. Because if everyone knew what we did, what would be the point of actually presenting it to you? You see, it's not that we're doing anything sinister, it's just you receive it when you're ready to receive it. When you're ready to do this, that's when you learn about it. And when you move through the degrees, that's something that you have to earn, that's something that you have to work for. I'd like to wrap all of this up by saying, this is my new channel. It's Inside the Lodge. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, please like, please subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will address all the comments through video. I will find out. If I don't know the answer, I will learn more about your question and I will bring it to you. I will converse with well-informed brethren that know quite a lot more than I do, and I will make sure that I get you the best answer that I possibly can. I want to shine the best light on Masonry that I can, bring you as much truth as I can, so that hopefully people will see what we really are, which is an ancient charitable organization. Now that all was kind of the technical answer, but I guess to me, what Masonry is, and I've only been in it for about a year. I'm a Master Mason. I've done the York Rite. I'm 10th degree York Rite. I'll be doing the Scottish Rite early next year. But I want to say that I guess my personal opinion about what Masonry is it's, of course, a charitable organization, and that's very important, but Masonry is really a means of bettering yourself. I like to think, all right, Masonry takes good men and makes them better. The truth is, when I joined Masonry, I wasn't sure if I was a good man. I like to think that I was. I've been told I was, but I'm not sure. As a human being, I've messed up many times, and I always fall short of the glory of God and short of what a perfect Freemason should be, or an ideal Freemason should be. I don't know if I was a good man, but I wanted to be. That's one reason I joined Masonry. And I found out that I think I was a good man. And thanks to the help of the brethren here, I think I'm a better man. I really do. And I'm going to continue my education and my parts in Masonry. I will continue moving through as much as I can, receiving all that I can in Masonry. And I honestly believe that it will continue to bring me closer to my God. It will bring me closer to being a better part of the community, just to being a good man. To me, that is what Freemasonry is. It's a means of betterment. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I hope you'll like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.